I'm going to start my review of Anurag Kashyap's new film Dobaaraa by sharing a few dialogues from the film. Here are lines that characters say to each other. Jo bol rahi ho sounds implausible. That's not making sense. Mujhe nahi samajh aata ye parallel universe. As I watched, I thought, these people are echoing my sentiments. Even within its own logic, Dobaaraa is a muddle and sadly, it's also middling. Dobaaraa means again or repeat in Hindi, but it also means Dobaaraa, a time at which intriguing things happen. Like the title, the plot lines in the film have several iterations. The main event is that Antara, a nurse who has just moved into a new house in Pune, goes back in time to save the life of a 12-year-old boy, Ane. An old television set and this geomagnetic storm somehow enable them to connect over timelines. But as we know, no good deed goes unpunished. So Antara remains the same, but her life changes dramatically, including her partner, her profession and her child.
मतलब मैंने पास में जाके पास बदल दिया, इसकी वजह से प्रेजेंट बदल गया.
Dobaaraa is the official remake of the 2018 Spanish film Mirage. That film was co-written and directed by Oriol Paulo, who also wrote and directed The Invisible Guest, which was remade in Hindi as Badla, which also starred Taapsee Pannu. Paulo clearly has this talent for twisty genre films. I thought, if I don't watch the original, I could fully experience the thrill and suspense of the remakes, but my strategy is not working. Like Badla, Dobaaraa isn't half as clever as it thinks it is. Now look, time travel by design requires a greater suspension of disbelief. The writer and the director have to perform a sort of magic trick almost. It has to grip us enough so that we don't start asking questions. Dobaaraa is sprinkled with references to films and makers who've mastered the art of time travel in the movies. At one point, a character says, "Tum future se aaye ho Terminator jaise." In a scene, Ane wears a t-shirt that has the Terminator's iconic line, "I'll be back." And there is even dialogue about Christopher Nolan. Nihit Bhave, who's written the adapted screenplay, attempts to weave many threads into the narrative. There's parallel universes and varied timelines within those universes. There's murder, flawed marriages, infidelity, and he also has to fit in dialogue like, "Is duniya mein se us duniya mein jaane ka portal kholna uske haath mein nahi hai." No surprise that this proves to be an impossible task. The plot is fantastical and convoluted, and the only way it can work is if the characters and the emotions are strong enough to make us invest in it, which doesn't happen. Taapsee delivers a competent performance as a reluctant time traveler, wife and doting mom. So do Pavail Gulati as the investigating officer and Shashwato Chatterjee as the dodgy neighbor. But the most notable character is Antara's husband, played by Rahul Bhatt. Rahul's frayed good looks and exhausted manner infuse a much-needed comic edge into the film. The characters and the camera in Dobaaraa are in constant motion. It rains a lot. There is thunderous, suspenseful music composed by Gaurav Chatterjee and Shore Police. And there's even a countdown. Antara has to set things right before the portal closes, and yet nothing in the film really feels urgent. I had described Anurag's last film, Chode, also written by Nihit and shot by Sylvester Fonseca, as the director in minor key. After all, this is the artist who's delivered blistering, audacious films like Gangs of Wasipur, Gulal, Black Friday. Even his lesser films have passages that explode with energy and ambition. His biggest failure, Bombay Velvet, is a mess, but it's an unrelentingly fascinating mess. This is not a filmmaker you can accuse of being banal, except perhaps with this film. Dobaaraa is so generic that it just feels like Anurag is on autopilot. I hope with the next one, he gets his groove back. So this was my take on Dobaaraa. What did you think of the film? Tell me in the comments below.